I'm going to talk more about escalation. It's one of the trump cards. Screening, systematic testing to select those with desired characteristics. Delayed laugh. And, another great reminder is that women are the greatest seduction teachers in the world. I mean, that path over here, right? That's another thing I didn't point out. It's like a guru worship. You deify it, some guru or some instructor, right? Some information marketer. This other path, you recognize it. Anything you want to know about seduction, you can learn from women. Take what I say. It's a great idea. Take it in field. Find out if it's true for you. That was one of your points, right? You got to put this in field. You got to find out for yourself. You got to take the action. You got to make the decision. Intimacy is what this it's all about. Seduction is not a popularity contest. That was this part of the triangle. Pickup is a popularity contest. It's about getting noticed. Intimacy and seduction, I would be insulted, I think, if I was voted some kind of like greatest pickup artist in the world. I don't identify with that. I don't resonate with that at all. I used to call myself like the roaming rogue and the roadside Romeo. I went on this road trip for like 4 years. I've been to every state except Hawaii, just teaching and meeting women and like having these experiences and living in the moment, living in the world, hiking national parks, doing all this really cool stuff. So it's the roadside Romeo, the roaming rogue, the freelance flirt, the foreplay gourmet. There's probably some ego to this. But it was about women. It was about intimacy. It wasn't about being recognized by some community and some anonymous group of people like reading stuff on forums. So it's weird, this sensation of guys that they want to go out and they want to meet women and they want to get good at this, whatever that really means, so they can kind of impress their friends. And so instead of like connecting with her deeply in the moment, they just can't wait to get home to write the lay report. That's all this path that was over here. Women, the greatest seduction teachers in the world. Intimacy. Seduction is not a popularity contest. All right. Part 2. The seduction trump cards. We got the king and the 4 queens. All right. Just throw out any question you guys have.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you said that most resistance is a demand for more tension. I guess I wonder, how would you define that tension?
My current model, like my belief, is that tension is always there. It's naturally present between most women and most men. The problem is, because of our conditioning, because of our upbringing, because of what the dominant society puts on us, we don't recognize it, we don't acknowledge it. So the idea is that you're just allowing it to be more present, so you can build it and enhance it and intensify it. This is going to be one of the trump cards, is how you primarily non-verbally make the tension thicker, right? Pickup is about exposure. It's about opportunity. It's the social aspect, remember. It's the numbers game. So there's this debate, right? I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's like this debate. Is it just a numbers game? Or is it a skill set? It's both. It's totally fucking both. It's particles and a wave. The numbers game aspect is the pickup aspect. It's the social aspect. It's the aspect of getting out there, getting off your ass, increasing your opportunities, putting yourself out there, going up and saying hi. Exposure, opportunity, approaching. Then what you want to do, like, approaching is a natural screening process. What happens is you weed out the ones with no interest, and you find the ones with a little bit of interest so you can apply the skill set of seduction to make them very, very interested. Part of that skill set is effectively, however you want to focus on it, building tension or recognizing naturally present tension. We'll talk more about that. Because that's actually the first trump card, is how being seduced trumps being social. So how those 3 triangles or 5 triangles on this side that I left colored trump the ones that I put in black and white. So like I was saying, being social is prospecting. It's lead generation. It's that idea of going out there, increasing your chance. The only way to like play the game is to start it. That's the social. I'm not knocking being social at all. We're social creatures. We're also sexual animals. The path over here is valid. So it's, but what I want to hammer home is being social is not what gets you laid. It's not what gets you a girlfriend. It's not what gets you the kind of sex life that you probably want, that you desire, that you deserve. Being social in and of itself is not what contributes to these things, and that's one of the big misdirections of the community. And a lot of the community focuses on social dynamics, having social proof, having an entourage, crazy kind of peacocking to get yourself noticed. Getting noticed is not getting arousal. You know what I mean? Getting attention is not getting arousal. That's how I like to say it. Being entertaining is not escalating. It's all social. You're stuck in that corner of the triangle. And I'm saying, that's a great place to start because you flirt. And there's that hook point. And it's usually has something to do with isolation. The rest of the social environment disappears. It's you and her. This is what seduction is about. It's you and her. It's one-on-one. The rest of the environment disappears. The rest of society has no bearing on what's taking place. So you flirt. You flirt when it's social. You flirt when it's necessary to, there's her group. It's like group theory and all this, right? And then you got her alone, right? And the best context for getting the girl alone is to take a number and then call her up and be like, why don't we get some coffee or something? Part of this whole pickup thing is epitomizing same lays and fetishizing quickness, speed. Oh fuck, we didn't hook up until the 3rd date and that means I'm not good at game or some bullshit. No, that's beautiful. That's natural. It's natural human sexuality. It's awesome. Share that moment. Here's another thing. I don't play to win. That's all over here, playing to win.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes. The contrast to that, real quick though, is playing to continue the play. Playing for the sake of play itself. Yes.
If I understand you correctly, you say stay in the middle of the triangle or try to get in the middle of the triangle, and
that is a great
middle?
place to be. That's where you're going to have the most balance, the most. Here's another way the community is coming together. A lot of us are talking more about holistic living, wholeness versus neediness. So you have that balance. You have those 3 domains of your life evened out, right? It's a great place to be. But also what I'm saying is most guys don't know their edge. They have no idea. They think they're pushing the edge, the envelope, the boundary. They're not even coming close. So I'm saying put your time and attention a little bit further to this side. The maximum point of concentrated focus is over here. To find your edge, you got to go beyond it. And a lot of guys, they've done this social thing until they're pulling their hair out. That's what happened to me, right? And they really haven't experimented with seduction. Maybe there's some timidity or hesitation, but often it's just they don't know. They've been misdirected. The community, like, it's like, no, do 1,000 approaches and you'll get good eventually. Right? So I talked about creating the one-on-one connection. I talked about pickup being the numbers game, seduction being the skill set. Another aspect of this is what I like to say is like be social on your own terms. Don't think you have to go out every fucking night. Don't think you have to do bars and clubs at all. Find what resonates with you. Find what naturally fits with your energy, your worldview, your mindset. Like, I'm not really that social. But I'm very, very seductive. And consequently very sexual. I have a high sex drive. I love women. I love sex. I love the whole process. Similarly, I'm an introvert. A lot of guys, they find the community and they're introverted, for sure. How do I become an extrovert? How do I force myself to change all these things, right? It's like be social on your own terms. Being introverted doesn't necessarily mean shy either. You can have periods of going out and being hypersocial, but being an introvert means you got to recharge in solitude. And Anthony was talking about this. He's an introvert for sure. You need those moments alone. You need that isolation. So if you're doing the hypersocial shit for a few days, it's going to tire you out big time. And you're going to need to recharge alone in solitude and isolation. An extrovert, like Vince, it's actually going to wear him down to be in isolation, to be in solitude for a long time. And he'll start to crave those periods of being hypersocial. He's a very social guy who's actually on the seduction path. I'd say he's a guy that pretty much has the sweet spot nailed down. I'm realizing this in many ways, the introverted version of him, since we are arriving, at a lot of the same conclusions. All right, so we talked about the debate, skill set, numbers game. And that's basically what I teach, man. Do the social aspect on your own term. Get yourself out there. Exposure, opportunity, approaching. And then learn the skill set of seduction, which is what I teach, and I'm going to drill deeper into this. To take the girls with a little bit of interest and make them very interested. It's a process. It's a step-by-step process. So the trump card number 2 is that the nonverbal trumps the verbal. By the way, there's 5 of these. This is the second one. Most conventional dating advice, as well as most community advice, focuses on words. Focuses on verbal communication. So it's not just on being social, but it's about verbal communication, what we're saying to each other. Pick up lines, words, patterns, remember old school. Words, routines are words. Stories, words, cocky funny, breaking rapport, banter, teasing. These are all verbal techniques. When a guy first finds the community, he always wants to know, what do I say? What do I say to girls to get them to like me? That's this path. They want to build confidence. But a lot of this, the whole wholesome aspect of this and the inner game aspect is like, how do I build esteem? So words, man, like everything, we're surrounded by words. Movies, TV shows, billboards, romantic comedies, situational comedies. It's just dialogue. We're so obsessed with words by the media, and we spend all day like texting and emailing. So what I'm here to tell you, right, and this should resonate with a lot of you, is you don't have to be witty, you don't have to be charming and funny, just like you don't have to be that social. You don't have to be so focused. You don't have to have the perfect story that like teaches a lesson or has this like, dynamic revelation about how popular you are, right? Nonverbal seduction, like I teach the 4 most important aspects of nonverbal seduction. And I'm going to go over those at the end if we have time. There's a big difference between being verbally direct and verbally explicit even, versus being physically direct. And the aspects, they all relate to the senses. And one of them is cutting space, being able to get close, proximity. And I'll talk about all of them in a minute. So let's move to the 3rd seduction trump card. Let's consider that men and women have 2 distinct desires. One is the desire for sex, and one is the desire for affection. Affection relates to many things, including praise, approval, appreciation, attention, validation, recognition, liking, things like sharing time together, sharing activities together, words of affirmation, sharing, doing stuff together. Pet names, pillow talk, cuddling. This is all affection. Then there's sex. So I'm talking about sex as an innate biological urge. It's not so much the need for tender caresses and affection. It's that primal, instinctual, very powerful urge that you feel.